Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, the Smith in the Black channel here at Ticker Talker, and if it's Tuesday, it's a Strat Attack show. So you know what it's time for. Let's get in the urban assault vehicle, going to take a look at some charts. So what do we got going on here? So tonight I'm going to do something a little bit different than I do it every once in a while to show you some scanning techniques because essentially when you know how to scan properly, then you can break it down into the charts where things are in the broadening formation because a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, and how to get in on stuff, because I missed it and it's gone too far already. I'm like, no, you didn't. I mean, most people try and think they have to pick absolute bottoms, tops, or the exact spot where things take off. If things are really going to go, and no more than this year, there's going to be tons of opportunity to get in your shops and your W's and your overstocks. And you're like, oh, I missed it. It's like, look at this thing. Right here was the 2-2 reversal. Was that in the videos? Sure was. On the monthly down in here. And here's your greater broadening formation. They're like, no way. And I'm like, watch this. Bam. Right? But even if you didn't get this here at 681, when it took that out, you'll see Momo Hammer here in the upper left here on the weekly there. And you'll see on the daily. Here's an outside bar. Right? Triangle out. Stop them out. 2-2 reversal. Inside day. 3-2-2, right? And I mean, there's going to be so much opportunity to get in there. And so, if you've ever been one of those people who doesn't think things go further than you thought, think of your biggest loser and then think of your biggest regret sale, right? So we know that. So you want to keep going on things like that. So we're starting off a new month and a new week, right? And so if we go to the S&P Spider, and I'll blow some of this stuff up so you can see it a little better, but not doing too much, but it's not going down, right? And so what you want to look for, do we have any reversals against us, right? As of now, as we know, no, right? So you have the inside week right up in here, and you're taking that out. The month is green and above last month. That's 2, right? It's still going. 2 yesterday, 2 today on the green. So obviously this range is a little tight, and that could change, but until it does, still good. So if we go to QQQ, inside week to the upside, all right, still just blasting into the highs, and you got all your kinds of foam there, your XLKs and your SMHs, just chugging along, right, and they're still going. So so far so good, but we're only 2 days into the month, right? So we got a lot of earnings coming out. That's going to affect a lot of things. But when I talk about scanning, that we know that that things trade in broadening formation series. We know that, right? Because outside bars exist. So you're going to want to refer back to the charts. But when you have good scanning, here, there's a few things you want to look for, right out the chute, on any given day and any given time frame. So we're starting off a new month, right? Okay, and it's new week. So the weekly and the monthly bar openings are still the same until next week, right? So we know that. So one of the things you want to do is you can, first of all, just go into here, right? Scan for who's up or down the most by points, right? Who's going, right? And you'll be able to see by look at the prices, right? And get them percentages too. But here, so far this week, if you took a look here, Amazon's down 44, NVR that barely trades, and GSP. Google is down 21, but these are $1,000 stocks, but still that tells you where you want to be. And so here's the things that are moving, because if you're going to be down 100, you're going to be down 20 first, right? And if you go to the upside, you'll see the Mellies of the world, and you'll see a check here, Berkey A. You go, but Melly is an inside day, so that shows up on my scan. So we're watching that. You got Shop as an inside day, and up $47 this week, right? And so this helps you to tell you who's on the move, and then you can search the other scans for who's inside in the week. So you've got Nvidia up 18, Sedge was up today, TTD. We'll get to that in a second. The usual suspects, your W's, the FSLYs, and you can see all that kind of stuff, right? And so then another thing we want to do here is, because we got inside weeks and up in the broader averages here, who's inside week and up, right? And so when you pull that up, they'll not only tell you who's inside week and up, but how much they're up for the week, right? Did they tank it in today, or do they keep going, right? And you'll see something like Chewy right here, up 4, all right? That's not bad. You'll see CRNC, and we'll get to some of these in a minute. IRTC, right? You can see this kind of stuff, and it pops right up. So another thing you can do too is, this says yesterday's high and yesterday's low, but this scan actually does any time frame that I want pretty much. So what this tells me is I want to look at the quality of the names of anybody who's taken out last week's lows, right? And what am I looking at here? So if this was, a lot of big blue chip stocks, I know that we got problems, right? But this is last week's lows, but you're looking at a bunch of crap. You get MNK, Snappy maybe, Coke somewhat, right? But as you go down the list, it's a who's who of nobodies. You got a little Valero and Baxter, you might get to here in a second. You got MetLife. And so another thing you'll see is a concentration when things are really moving. You can see the concentration of either large cap stocks or sector specific, and that will alert you to what's going on in the market. So with a good scan, you don't have to really look at the charts. We know what's going on because it tells us that if you took out last week's lows, these are either two downs or already outside threes, right? Because they're taking out last week's lows, right? We know that. So we want to look at the quality of that. And then if you go here and you go, let's look at the difference between that and last week's highs. Who's taking out last week's highs? Go to your weekly here. Sort by volume. Who's taking out last week's highs? Let's look at the difference of what we're looking at here, right? AMD, Microsoft, Apple, Pinterest. You've got some Ubers. You've got FSLY, LVGO, right? Some of them usual suspects like that. SQ, Qualcomm. You noticing the difference? NVIDIA, Oracle. Big difference, right? So that tells us, at least to start off the week, most things, the important things, are heavily weighted. TWLO, you've got Netflix. You can see that all this kind of stuff, much more important and more heavily weighted, are taking out last week's highs, right? And so when people are trying to analyze a chart and say, I think it's got rolled over, that would have to change, right? That would certainly have to change. And that's why each day we want to come in and we want to see what's the next two, right? And so on anything it might be. So if you're looking at SPY, what's the next two? Right now we went out on the highs, right? So you would have to take out today's lows to go two on anything, right? And the good thing that could happen is that it's early midweek and it's early in the month, and then you can set up the rev strat here, but that would have to occur, right? You don't have to guess and say, if this does that, I think it's going to roll over and do that. It would have to do that, right? So the reverse would either have to gap up tomorrow and then go three or compound three outside bar, go inside and then puke Thursday, or take out today's lows tomorrow. That would have to occur, right? Okay, so you don't have to sit there and think and think and think. So let's just take a look at a few here. We got some combinations. I know it's down the food chain again here, but in the energies, EQT here. And I know these things have been big pigs, but these are the kind of combinations we're going to look for, right? At least to start off the month. You got an inside week here up the upper left, taking that out. You got an inside month to the upside. You also got an inside day coming into tomorrow. It also often trades with COG here. And COG, you can see here, this is coming inside month to the upside in the lower left. All right. It's also inside week to the upside. Not an inside day, but we'll see how that goes. You also had Halliburton, and I know this is a little sketch, but Halliburton by a half cent is inside month and up. All right. And so the thing about it is timing everything, and why we use multiple time frames is we want to say what's the next two and what will that create, negate, or do, right? And so if you look at the daily here, you can see how it goes down, triangles them out. Then this is a two up, right? And until that changes, we're going to be a compound three. This becomes an outside bar of all this, right? And if that works, it triggers the inside month break, right? So we want to be forward thinking. It's, and I use this analogy a lot, is that it's like playing pool. And so you don't just knock the balls into the holes. You want to leave the cue ball and leave yourself another shot. So whenever you're looking at any charts, you want to say, if this works, what will it create? And if this works here, that's going to take out the inside month, which is an additional signal, right? Okay, it's also going to make it go two on the week, right? That's good too. So I always want to be forward thinking when you're looking at this stuff. And then way down the food chain, we got RRC. And here you can see this, inside month to the upside, right? And then here's where the triangle match. Pretty tough to stay long in here. It's like, I'm going to put a stop at the low, bam. I'm going to put a stop at the low, bam. I'm going to put a stop at the low, bam. I'm never trading this thing again. Go time. Thank you. Bam. Back through these guys, then stop them, and come back through. So we'll see what comes of that. If we go to CRNC, this is on our scan. And exhaustion risk is you're going into the highs, right? Remember, we have targets, and a target is not just some random number that somebody makes up and says, I think this is my target because it's going there. A target means you're going to take out all these pivots, them, and them. So anybody short doesn't have anything to be short against, right? So once we get through here, that's exhaustion risk. But you do have this inside month to the upside down here, lower left, right? And there's your measured move, up, sideways, measured move, 2, 1, 2, like so. We'll see if that regroups here and keeps going down the food chain, but here you go. Inside week and up and inside month and up is guess. And in the retail, and the thing about it though, the issue about it is you can see all these months are stuck in here, right? That's a problem, right? Because then you go compound one, which means that all of this was an inside bar, right? Until you can take that out and get out of here. However, now you do have the signals where you're an inside week to the up, an inside month to the upside. If it's going to do anything, that's what it's going to look like. So you do have that combination. Just want to be aware of that other stuff. You got a new issue, Xi, and this is only 3 months old, not even. Inside month down in here, but you did have this inside week. And let me see, I want to write one down if I didn't have it in here. Okay, so you've got your inside week to the upside, right? And that was the initial break. And so once again, now it goes inside day over here. Does it reconfirm that and measured move it? Or does it go inside back and down and set up rev strat weak? So there's always this, if this, then that to this, right? Now to I think and all that kind of stuff. And that's why a lot of times in the videos you'll hear me say either way on this one. Right? If it takes that to the upside, we're going to take that up. If it takes that down, we're going to take it down, right? We don't care, especially beginning of the month and the beginning of the week, because it's much easier on a Monday or Tuesday, like a turnaround Tuesday, to switch things back to, all right, it's green on the week, it's green on the month, it's green on the day, and then boom, you come ripping back through, and you'll see that stuff on a Tuesday or a Wednesday oftentimes. So we'll see what comes to ZI. You got Roku, also inside week and up, right here. You can see that. It hit its magnitude, it took that out. The question is, can it keep going? Because you can see this range in here where they chopped them up here on the daily upper right. Now let's imagine taking that out, now can it stay out, right? Because initially people were like, it broke down, did it? Then it got stuck in here, new formation. The higher high, the lower low. Then this stuck inside, which caused the inside weak, and then go. All right, so it's got a little bit more room for an all-time high, so that's a good thing. If we go to Microsoft, and Microsoft gaps, and then tried to come in today. So you are inside week and up, but you can see this is how the magnitude will cause it to fail. It's not going to, it doesn't mean it's going to fall apart, but you take out that high, right? Anybody short doesn't have anything to be short against. They just got wiped in here and got wiped clean, right? So today the buyers had to step up, but that's not what happened. We got some profit taken in there, and these guys got spooked that this thing was going to gap and reverse on them, which didn't happen. So we'll see how that goes. This would be another 2 up. Did you take out them lows? Yes. So this will be a 2-2 back up because this took out the lows, right? Stop those guys out, and now potential 2 with the week to go back up Microsoft. Beyond, I believe earnings came out and they started hitting it. So that was inside week of the up, and this is definitely what we want, but when we know we have earnings coming out, you're not going to mess around with anything. We want to come back to a previous range. I think this thing is backed off right about to the break of the inside week. So there's always conference calls and all that kind of stuff. As we said, NVAX tonight was pounded and came all the way back. So we just let them open when you have these earnings come out. So we do have a lot of tech still. Marvell, MRVL, inside week to the upside. And so our magnitude would still be trying to take this out up here. As you can see, so long as that stays. You're still inside month, and that's okay, because your exhaustion wouldn't be until you take this out. But you just want to be aware of that. And you can see they slightly took that one down too. We come marching through here, so it stalls out just a little bit after taking this out, right? So you're going to see this is your shorter term exhaustion risk, like so. Like that by taking them out, right? These guys, anybody who's short against anything in here, gone. They're gone. Now, it's just whether the buyers will re-step up today after today's slight consolidation. If we go to Netflix is also on the inside year and up list per the macro videos, and now you've got your week. And here you go. There was your exhaustion risk. Come down, right? It's not an outside bar. We're still a 2 up until here, right here. Triangle out on the weekly. Now these two are an outside bar of that. You see that? So now, since we know that, now you go inside and back up. Now our magnitude is to see if we can come back and take this thing out, right? Because we know we have a broadening formation. Then these 3 or 4, how many candles it takes to get here, would be a compound outside bar of that if it can keep going. So we'll see. You got a little bit of short-term risk here. You can see this. They took this high out. Now the question is it going to be strong enough to come after this? Right now, still inside week and up. We'll see. If we go to AMAT, and AMAT also very slightly inside week and up, and as we started off, so we'll look at the daily and we'll watch this with the Qs and the semis, right? SMH. Now it's a 2 up, 2 down, so we're going to see if we can get that 2, 2, 2 continuation to reconfirm the inside week and up. You've got ZM, also an inside day here, right? Inside day, and it's inside week and up. So I want to see if that reconfirms it by taking these guys out and then staying above there, because it's still below that, I believe. 271.35, 271.10. So you can see if you can get that inside day to give you a measured move of this, and then go after this outside bar up into here using that inside week. We'll see how that goes. If we go to AVGO, I talked about this in the weekend video and both strat time reports during the noonday hour, and you can see this inside week here in the upper left, and that was above 318.40, right? And then we were using that to see if we can propel it to take the inside month out above 324.33, which it did. So then we can go looking over here. 331.58 is all-time highs. May as well take it out, right? That was a nice day today. Talked about that yesterday, and there ye goes. If we go to NXPI, more semis, and like I said, this is why you want to look for a concentration, right? So here, another inside week to the upside, not by much, but we'll see if that can continue, and we'll watch that with all the other SMHers. KLAC, also an inside week to the upside, and here you got a little bit more room. You can see this up in here. Nice broadening formation you got there up. Now see if we can go take out these guys up in here. All right, so they tried to bring them in. So now if it takes this out tomorrow morning, then we're looking to go outside bar of this, compound 3, and go blast that out too. If we get the semis going, you got TTD. TTD, also an inside bar here to the weekly to the upside. You did finish them off though. 1, 2, 3, they're gone. All right, so now it's got to stay up there. And so what you'll see here now, stop them out, slight lower low. Oh, how they love to do that. I'm going to put a stop on the low. Are you? Good. Thank you. Bam, you're gone. Here it comes. So we'll see if we can get out of that and use that inside week to keep going. We've got NEE, a little boring, but slightly inside up there, but you're going into exhaustion risk. And you can see here, here's the inside week, slightly above it, 284.86. But here, once again, using the other signals inside day, here gets you in at 281.87 to come back to the previous range, right, to take that week out, right? If this works, what's the next 2? What would that create or negate or do? That'll create a combination of inside day and inside week to the upside. So we'll see what more comes of that. If we go to FSLY, so talked about that. This is exhaustion risk, and this one I talk about waiting to triangulate out. Here you go on the weekly, right here. Down, 2 down, inside, back up. What's your magnitude? We're going to take these guys out. Boom. So just to start off the week, it's got, it's a nice move during this week. And so it is an exhaustion risk, but until it proves otherwise, it doesn't have a reversal against it either. If we go to Chewy inside month and up, exhaustion risk here, just going into the highs. And you can see here how this sets up. This is an outside week, slight lower low. Then when it takes the 2 here, magnitude is that, because these guys become an outside bar of all that, right? So you just want to keep marching on those kind of things. We go to Casey's General Store. Casey's General Store is here on the inside month to the upside, right? But once again, how did that break, all right? And I'll show you here on the weekly. You see this? 2 up, 2 down. And right here, boom, on the weekly, as soon as it breaks over 165.34, this is going to be a compound outside bar of that, the 2, 2, 2 continuation that we love so much. Hopefully we can go after that because we're still good on the month. And once again, if you looked at the daily, how did this set up coming into Monday morning? All right, if it's going to do 2, 2, 2 on the week, it's going to have, we got a 2, 2 reversal on Monday morning to trigger that, because as soon as this started moving here, green, because it was a Monday, you had full time frame continuity to the upside. And then when I took out this, Now you got a 2-2 reversal coming back through previous range. And if that works, it's going to take the 2-2-2 week. And if that works, it's going to take the inside month. See? So there's how you can set up those combinations. That's why you want to look at multiple time frames, right? What's common, right? If this works. And lock. And here's another one that is trying to go inside week to the upside and the inside month, right? And here was your inside day, but that was last week. So here, to start off Friday, actually we did the 2-2 here, slight down and up. But now that triggers all this kind of stuff, and we'll see how much more fun they have in something like this. If we go to some of the solars coming up, so you just want to keep an eye a little bit on that when you see a group coming up. So FSLR goes 2-2-2 week. Now it does hit its magnitude, but this thing's been a lot higher in the past, right? We know that, and we call that it used to be somebody's. And so you can watch that with SPWR had a nice day here, and coming through all this. Now it is an exhaustion risk, and so you can see how they back up and get ahead of steam. Triangle it out. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. Triangle out. First of all, I'm going to buy it at support. All right, bam. I'm going to buy it off that pivot. To bam. I'll use this lower pivot. To bam. I'm never trading this again. There we go. Thank you. Monday morning reversal. Full time frame continuity back to previous range, and there you go. So right now on the daily, it looks like this here. But we're bright green in the month. We've been higher, and like I said, you've got a group going, which is good. That tells you that they aren't going stock specific. That's why you want to watch sectors. It's not that things catch up to other things. It tells you that funds are buying across the board. They want full solar exposure, right? That doesn't mean that they're not picking out a specific company. They're buying across the board. That's important to know. And so when you come back to previous range and you know that, you see CSIQ here, inside day after triangle the out. Them slight lower lows are a killer, ain't they? And this is an outside day too. 3-1-2 Chicago day, and boom. It takes these guys out. The question is going to be strong enough for all that kind of stuff. And if this works, it would go 3-2-2 on the week here above 24.66. So if we see that, you might get some more boom out of the buck, and so you can watch all them solars together. Not seeing a lot of stuff getting totally destroyed just yet, but space, one of the few things that we're looking for that's taking last week's lows out. Right, here they go, triangle out, and bam, back through here. And so when you hear me talk about the mother bar issues, about stalking in one giant bar, you can see this. How are you going to get out of here? Almost, nah. But then anytime there's a new month, right, new week, you want to be very aware when you don't get out of the first bar. So to define mother bar, right, anytime you have an inside bar, the previous bar is the mother bar. And until you get out of that, you've got to be aware of that. Right? You get stuck in here because price discovery works in a series of broadening formations. So oftentimes when you get stuck in there, price discovery starts over again, right? Now it starts chopping back and up. If you've ever gotten murdered in something and figured I'm just going to trade my way out of it, and then you watch it totally die where it's totally untradeable, right? That's what you're experiencing there. So be aware of that. You've got Baxter and BAX. And you can see this taking this outside week to the downside coming through here. It's also, I believe, inside month and down. Yep, inside month and down coming back through here. And once again, mother bar problems. It's stuck in here, right? So the magnitude is really to take this out and then stay below 81.35, right? And keep going, keep puking, right? Because there's a lot of ways that you can train your mind to look at things and say, okay, Rob, even if it gets out of here, the problem then would be, for you good guys, if it was a 2-month pattern, how are you going to get outside of this stuff? Right? Right? That's a tall order. But we want to be aware. We do have signals. You did have full time frame counting to the downside. The daily was an outside day yesterday, and then 3-2 down today. So we'll see more Baxter. HAE, inside month to the downside. Here, taking that down, and just exhaustion risk coming into the lows. Right? That's okay. I mean, we just be aware of it, but they come and rip these guys a new one right out here on the weekly. Those guys are toast. So we'll see what comes of that. INGR. In INGR, once again, you can see this on the weekly. Triangle day out. Right? Triangle day out. So it pops up. Takes out anybody in here. Wasn't strong enough to take that out. And then 2-2 reversal on the week. Here. Boom, take all these guys out in one shot. So you still got some more stuff down in here to take out, which is good, right? Because on the daily, you're going to see this. Comes up, not strong enough to take this out. There's your daily broadening formation, and it's trying to rip right through it. And this is what we call the pivot machine gun. All right, coming back to previous range, inside day, bad news. Anybody who stopped against that, or that, boom, bye, thanks for playing. And the reason that works is because you have full time frame continuity to the downside. It's red on all time frames, and that means that the more aggressive participants are the sellers, and you're turning people that are long into sellers, right? That's why you want to come back to a previous range. They don't want to sell. They're being forced to because they're stopped out, right? Or they're idiots and just getting killed. And those are the guys who help really keep it going. So if we go to STZ and leave it at that, just looking for anything like here's 2-2 reversal month down here in the lower left, right? Inside weekend down and coming back through previous range. Like, so if anything goes wrong in here, right, you can see how they triangulate out, slide high up into here and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, it's a new month, new week. We've got earnings coming out. They're going to throw things around. So early on, that's what we're looking at. And hopefully today, some of you learned some new things. And that's what it's really all about. Because once you can see things our way and you can line things up with multiple time frames, you're going to be a lot happier. That's going to do it for the Strat Attack for this week. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith in the Black channel here at Ticker Tacker.